Have you ever seen an owl in real life? Have you ever seen an owl? A lot of people have seen them on TV, perhaps in the news, on your at your local zoo. But have you personally seen an owl? If you have, I'm not here to tell you owls are fake, birds are fake. But if you personally have seen an owl with your own eyes, this video is for you. Because you're a very unique person. Most people have never seen an owl. Now, I'd like to talk to you about the coming age. Well, first, let me start with why are you special? If we're told to walk under the light of day, we're told to walk soberly under the light of day. But there are those among us who can't quite do what we're told. For whatever reason, we're sent, we're purpose, we're up at night. We want to know things that others don't know, shouldn't know, can't know. It'd be harmful for them to know. Perhaps if you're one of these people, you've studied the way the world works. You know things that other people don't know. Well, I'd like to talk to you about the age that we're about to enter, because I believe that your information might be outdated. If you are a conspiracy theorist, if you have looked into things, and you're around my age or older, your frame of reference is likely off. You likely believe we're living in an age that we no longer are. You probably find it a bit confusing. It seems like the sides shift. It seems like people are perhaps even more insidious than you had supposed. And perhaps the system is not as closed as you thought. There are all these new players, this new tech. Well, I'm sure you'd assume there is nothing new under the sun. But what is going on with this evolution? I'm here to hopefully clarify some of that. The age which most of us have studied was the age of the owl. The owl is awake at night. The owl sees what is not meant to be seen. The owl deals in secrets. The owl is definitely a predator. But the owl is not necessarily malicious. Sometimes it believes it's doing good. It just knows things that you do not know, or that most do not know. Well, we don't like people knowing things that we don't know. We don't like being manipulated. So we paint the owl, the Illuminati, the controllers, as evil. And certainly they most likely are. I can't trust them. But we must identify the current threats. The age of the owl had its peak in the 90s. We saw the pinnacle of government control, the dealing in secrets, the blackmail. These things obviously do not have the control that they once had. Look at the blackmail around the world coming down. Look at how the average citizen knows about the crimes, the misdeeds of the elite. Look at how the trust has fallen. So, these ages last around 30 years. And they usually begin their fall their fall takes around 2 to 3 years. September 11th would have been the beginning of the fall of the owl, age of the owl. Now, these 30-year cycles, it's approximate. You might have noticed that many famous people, important people, who could have potentially been powerfully good, die around age 29, while many powerful and important people that are good died around age 32. So that's roughly the generational time frames we're looking at here. The fall of one of these ages was, of course, September 11th. Another fall of an age was the assassination of John F. Kennedy. Let's talk about the age that preceded that. I would refer to it as the age of the dog. The sentiments were powerful. The ethics, the nobility, everything was quite pure and powerful, regardless of which side you were on. But it was not complex. It was shallow. It was pure but simple. And then entered the age of something more insidious, something avian. It took a few years for the actual fall to occur, so let's place the actual fall somewhere around the early 70s. And that entered the age of the owl. Now, you could refer to it as other predatory birds from time to time. You'll notice that these things have a little bit of fluidity. So we have left the age of the owl. We left the age of the owl 20 years ago, and most of us in the conspiracy theorist community still study the tactics and the methodologies and the crimes of the owls and presume them to still be in control, while the personalities may in some cases remain the same. I'm not certain of that. Certainly some of the old owls retain some of their power, but I believe their age has passed. And I'm not sure there's very many alliances between the prominent figures of one age and another. We have left the age of the owl, and we are in the age of the spider. Sometimes referred to as the octopus or the squid. You've seen them apparition in the sky, you've seen videos, but you know it in your head, you know it in your guts, that we live in a world of networks, of intertangled, woven webs, everywhere from our electric grid to our cell phones to our computers. Everything is a network, a web, a worldwide, deliberately spun, insidious web. Now, much like how the owl swooped in, like pretending to be the eagle, it was fascinating and liberating to be free from the simple systems of the dog era and taken into the more enlightened and ethereal realms, to be taken to the sky. But of course, what starts out as optimistic and eventually turns insidious. Many of you maybe remember how the internet once felt that way, how it was a new, free, ethereal, wonderful place, free of control, where mankind could be empowered. That's how they sell you. I call it the Walmart strategy. It's too convenient and too cheap for you to turn down until all the competitors are gone, and then it unveils it. Then the mask comes off. Well, in 2012, I'm not really sure why I brought up 2012. 2001 was now 25 years ago. We need to be preparing to leave the age of the owl. I'm sorry, I'm going to cut all of this. We have left the age of the owl, and we have entered the age of the spider, the crawling, weaving spider. You'll notice from the age of the owl, posted right outside of Bohemian Grove is a quote, something along, "Weaving spiders come not here." There are very few alliances between the powers of one age and the powers of another age. It would be incumbent upon us to ask what age we're entering. So let us look for a few clues. Other than the knowing what should not be known, what else do we know about? It is incumbent upon us to look for clues to what age we may be entering next. What do we know about the owls and the spiders? The owl sees what's not meant to be seen. The spider lays traps and collects information from far, far outside of itself. Now, this age is not over. They're still collecting their information. There will be screams and throes in their death. They will not go quietly. They will go with a bang. There is always a cataclysmic sacrificial event at the end of the ages. I don't know exactly what this one will look like, but you can project from what I've said already when it will happen, roughly. It looks like the spiders are gearing up for a world war. They love war because they can reap all the profits. And I'm sure, much like the families that funded World War I and World War II, they will reap their profits and retire. They will not be major players on the world stage. So, what age comes next? What else do we know about the spiders, about the octopus? We know that they have 8 legs, 8 appendages, 8 October. We're in the fall. We're in the fall of something. We have a quarter of the way left to go, approximately 5 years. What will come next? It's the age of a beast. It appears to be the age of a horse. You'll see it rise slowly. You'll see a cataclysm. You'll see a new age. What does the next immediate year have in store? I don't know a lot. I can say that we have been relatively compassionate with those who hide their stingers, those who hide their maliciousness, who think they're hiding their maliciousness. But that's the downside of the age of the spider. It's interconnected. We know things now. All of us, not just those who are awake at night, like the owl. In the coming year, compassion will wane for those who think they've been getting away with doing wrong. It's not like the owl. They don't believe that there aren't even those who believe that they're doing right. They just have information the rest of us don't have. They know they're doing wrong. This loss of compassion is well deserved. I'm not condoning any maliciousness from anybody. The loss of compassion is well deserved. There will be anger. There will most likely be some retribution. This is not the big one. No. Do not keep your... Do not let your guard down. Do not think the worst is over. Have a happy new year.